This is Eric Wayne with United Realty Group. I'm a business broker. I'm a top producer in my office with United Realty. We have about 4,000 agents and 20 offices. I think I'm usually number one as far as production is concerned of selling small businesses. We are looking for more air conditioning businesses, business owners that may want to sell. We just recently sold one, and we have buyers also in our database. We have a database of about 10,000 prospective buyers. We sold one, and we have others that are asking us. So if you are interested in selling, I'm going to quickly just go over a few things, hopefully to impress you that we know what we're doing. We could be trusted. We're the right ones to be hired and bring you the biggest check as fast as possible for selling an air conditioning business like yours. So first of all, this is just a copy of our brochure. We can get you a copy of this if you haven't, but always smiling faces at the closing table. Most people are very, very happy. You could read some of the things and comments that people have said previously. Of course, here's my phone number and some email addresses. And then on the inside of the brochure, the physical brochure, some of the retail sites that we advertise on, some of the different categories. Of course, construction. We sell roofing, we do air conditioning, we do enclosures, all different things. So you would fall under here for construction. But back in 2017, when we made this, there was 16 offices. Now it's 4,000 agents with 20 offices. Just wanted to quickly show you what's going on in the business industry as far as solds are concerned. I belong to an association called the BBF, the Business Brokers of Florida Association. We share information, just similar to how a house works when the listing agent takes the listing and all the other agents bring buyers, or they might have their own buyers. In my case, I have a lot of buyers because I'm spending about 50 grand a year promoting my listings. So we have more buyers than sellers. But in 19, you can see that as the association, they sold 13,314 solds. I don't think that's going to happen this year just because you could see the ratios are off. January was 80% of last year's numbers, 84, then here 28% of last year. You can compare. The 7 months in last year, the association sold 745, average days 274. This year, in the same period of time, same months, 449, which is 60% of last year's solds. So here's the breakdown. So businesses are taking 10% longer than they did last year to sell, averaging 300 days on the market. The down payment is generally 85 cents on a dollar and about a 15% seller financing. And here's some ideas of how we believe, co-broking, sharing commissions, different things we use in order to get people to cooperate with us and bring the best qualified buyer for our seller. Here's a roofing sold and an air conditioning sold. This is most similar to yours. We just did this. This contract was written April 29th. We redacted parties' information, but it was a $400,000 deal, 10 and 10 as an escrow, 5%. 380 was done before the closing. As you can see, everybody initialed. It's a 17-page document. We have all the clauses. I won't go into all the details, but all of the paperwork, excluding the transaction attorney, is included in our fee. We don't get paid or collect anything or charge anything until we actually have a buyer that you agree to contract with and actually sell. There are some other clauses, but that's pretty much when we get paid. So you can see that you don't have to pay an attorney to draft up contracts. I handle all that. You can have an attorney if you choose to have one. And then this was a roofing contract, same concept. My brokerage, United Realty Group that I belong to, and the BBF, the buyer, the seller. This was a $500,000 roofing business down in Homestead. We work the entire state, every county, all 67 counties. This was $5,000, $150 promissory note, $340 in escrow. You see how that one goes, right? So same concept. If you are actually interested in selling, we want to speak to you and be a little more detailed with what we can do. But for right now, I just quickly want to show you the association website and explain to you how businesses are valued. I did a quick valuation of the limited information that you gave to my caller, and I just want to share this with you. So this is the association, the Business Brokers of Florida. 20 years in business, 22,000 solds from roughly 1,100 specialists that specialize in small businesses like myself and my team. I have a small team that we all work together. So I did all counties in Florida to get the most amount of results. I did look in your county. Didn't see any solds that were applicable. So I also went here, all categories, construction, the subcategory. I pulled out air conditioning and heating because you're not, involved with drain cleaning and seal coating or any of this stuff. So that's the only thing that's going to come back from all the counties. And when I did this without putting dollar amounts in here, I came back with 167 results. That's too broad to compare you to 167. Some of them were doing millions, and it's not fair. Some of them had no profit. So what I did is I took a minimum net of $100,000, right? So anything over 100,000 will show up in our results. But if I didn't put the sales volume, the bracket of the 100 and 300, I came up with about 100 and whatever quantity. That again was too much. So I put a minimum, a floor of 100,000 because I don't want to compare you to businesses that are doing smaller dollar amounts. But I put in 300 as a maximum because to compare you to these guys would be not effective. So here's the range with a minimum earnings. That's enough criteria to get some results. I'm putting in all sources of data. Most people are not on their tax returns. The profit is not on the tax returns. P&L might be a way of proving the data, annualized, owner approved, under the mattress, in the coffee cup, if there's cash. There's different ways that we document the financials. When I get to know you better, I'll know which one is applicable. We could be more specific. And instead of just giving you basic information, I'm giving it to you with the comments so you could read and see, that these are comparable types of businesses. Our smallest one is a $200,000 selling business, and they're netting 113. The largest one is almost 300, 163, 159, 150, 141. This seems to be the range of who I'm comparing you to until you tell me differently. But you can see that these, they're well-established companies, and I can click on it and show you more information. But here's 150 accounts. Here's 17 years in business, another 17 year in business. So what I do is I click on all of these, and all of these have percentages. The way it goes is the sold price versus the adjusted net. What is the adjusted net? It's not the number on your tax return. We go through your financials with you, and we identify any cash that maybe didn't hit the bank, any personal expenses that were maybe taken out as business expenses. We do adjustments in order to get the maximum adjusted net so that we can actually get the highest dollar value for you at closing, right? So if we show the tax return, it's not, maybe doesn't show 159, it might show 30 or 40. So we want to go in there and actually identify any other benefit of being the owner. And that's my job and my bookkeeper's job. We'll get that done. We'll go over it with you. But now we want to take the average. This one took 414 days on the market. This one took 55. We can talk about all of that. So I'm just working with some averages. This will just tell you how it works. The average sold price of businesses netting, air conditioning businesses netting $100,000 or more, the adjusted net, all of the benefits, all of them grouped together, to the adjusted net, the average price was 140. So this means if the adjusted net, when we figure out what that number is, if it was $100,000, the average of the class over here would have been $140,000 sales price or sold price. There's a difference between the asking price and the sold price. People generally ask too much, and that's why you're on the market for 414 days. This guy might have started, at $1 million, and then over time his need grew, or the agent was finally able to get through to the seller that, hey, it's not selling, this is what we need to do. So those are the kind of things that we can talk about. But the average is 1.4. So if you're netting in total 100, figure 140. If it's 200, figure 280. Just rough numbers. But the seller, my sellers, determine the asking price and the ultimate sold price. But this is what others before us with similar product agreed to. Willing buyers, willing sellers, they both recognized if they were going to buy or sell, they needed to come in at about that ratio on average. The average down payment was 49 cents on a dollar. We try and get 100 cents on a dollar like this guy, but the average is that doesn't happen. Some of them need, smaller down payments to make a deal work. The average days on market was 242. If you go higher than this number, it makes sense that you'll be on the market longer. If you go too high, then in theory, you may never sell. That's probably what this guy realized before he had to come down to a more realistic number. So that's how it works. We list it for whatever you want. We sell it for whatever you want. There's no cost, no obligation unless we succeed at what we contracted for. My number is 954-562-2019. Again, it's Eric Wayne. The website is ericsellmybusiness.com. We'd love to talk to you further. It looks like you have a really nice, profitable business. Let's talk. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.